All right, let me just get everything set up. More horrific video coming out from Iran. And I was just watching something, and the reports are thousands. And I'm not live yet on TikTok. Thousands dead. Possibly 20,000 arrested. Public executions to happen tomorrow morning, Iran time. Hangings, and they're going to do it in the public, and they're going to televise it. And since I'm not on TikTok yet. Even Lindsey Graham posted a video. And it is, I don't know if it's a when now. I don't know. I think it might be more if. I'm starting to question if the president is going to act. I'm really starting to question it now. Now, it may happen. It may not. And literally thousands have already lost their lives. And tens of thousands, 20,000 is the number I see now, arrested. This is not a stampede. They're killing them. You have to see the horrific videos coming out, and I can't show them. But I'm going to show you what Lindsey Graham shared. It is shocking. How much more evidence do you need with what's going on there? And that's the one thing. He changes his mind. One day he says something, and the other day he might go back on what he's thinking. I've seen it with Ukraine. I've seen it with other things. Is he thinking about not? Now, I have an article that there's a reason that he may want to not do it. And I'm going to read that. But I just want to show you this shocking video that Lindsey Graham posted. Lindsey reposted, I think. Look at this. Dozens. And this is just in one area. People are having funerals already. This is just in one area. There is much more graphic. These people didn't get stampeded. This is not a result of a stampede. You have to see, and I can't show certain things, it's just too graphic. Of people who have been shot in the face. Girls, women. It is, oh my God. Look, they have to put where they got to put the bodies. Look at this. This is just one video. I cannot show you the ones that are more graphic because I'm not going to do that because it shows their faces. Is the president going to act? What's it going to take? Now, there are a lot, and I know people are going to backtrack and say, because a lot of people are like, go Trump, go do this, do that. And I definitely want to see them help the people of Iran take out their military side, but that's easier said than done. Forget about the carriers, because I was looking into the carriers, and I'm going to read an article in a second why it's not such a good idea without carriers. I'm going to read that in a second. And I'm not trying to defend if they don't do it, but you have to consider the consequences to put it out there. So this was 18 minutes ago. Lindsey posted this. Just received a sad and tragic video from the exiled Iranian crown prince and his team. These brave, unarmed souls who gave their lives in the cause of freedom by challenging a fanatical regime truly represent the best of humanity. Their willingness to take their lives for freedom should inspire us all. All red lines have been trampled on by the Ayatollah and his henchmen. It is time we don't need boots on the ground, but there should be a massive combination of military, cyber, and psychological attacks against those who are doing the killing and their infrastructure. It's more than warranted. The tariffs on Iranian oil were a brilliant move. It's now time to prove to the Iranian people and the world, including the regime, that America has the protesters' backs. By the way, there is a lot of American blood on the Ayatollah's hands. Act now. So you could see where Lindsay's coming from. And he's been on the side of the president. He's been seeing the mega cap make Iran great again. But there seems to be some definitely second, third thinking on this. And I say true because I'm going to read to you why you better think twice about going in and then striking Iran. You know, it's so easy to say, strike. The only thing he should not have said from the get-go, I'm going to rescue the Iranian people. I'm going to hit them hard, very hard. A lot of that rhetoric. Because then it almost look Obama-ish if you draw such a drastic red line and then you don't carry out on it. And I'm concerned about that right now. I'm not saying that a strike is not going to happen because he likes to confuse people. That's part of what the president does. He throws a lot in the mix, so nobody knows exactly. That's part of the strategy in it. But I want to read you an article in a second, but I'm going to get TikTok started because I can do this now. There is so many other videos I cannot show you. It's just horrendous. It's so graphic and sad. But that's part of it. And you know, China's already complaining about the 25% tariff. They're going to retaliate. You know, all this stuff. You expect that. Got to be careful. All right, let me start this one. Let me start this stream. TikTok. Like I said, you can do your own research and look at the really horrific videos coming out of Iran. Meanwhile, it's going to be nighttime soon again in Iran. And I am not showing any of those graphic videos, but you can look for them yourself. It's horrific. There's one with women unalived. And it's so graphic, I mean, I won't show it. But here's the other side of this, and this is important for people to understand. At least I think it's important. Once I get the article. Because it's not as simple, you know, as you think. I'm going to read this article because I think it's important. As of January 5th, 2026, the absence of United States Navy carrier strike groups from the Middle East represents a structurally significant inflection point in American power projection, according to the authoritative USNI News Fleet and Marine Tracker. This operational gap underscores a rare moment in which Washington's most flexible and survivable instrument of conventional deterrence is missing from one of the world's most volatile strategic theaters. And it goes into what's going on in Iran. President Donald J. Trump, speaking as commander-in-chief, has explicitly linked potential U.S. military involvement to Iranian regime violence. On January 9th, he warned that if they start unaliving people, that we're going to get involved. I'm paraphrasing. I'm sure many of us have heard that statement, or these statements he has made over the past week or so. Carrier strike groups are more than symbols of American resolve. They are integrated combat ecosystems capable of sustaining air dominance, precision strike, electronic warfare, and maritime security operations without host nation constraints. Their absence from the U.S. Fifth Fleet's area of responsibility is both an operational anomaly and a psychological signal with ramifications for allies and adversaries alike. For decades, continuous or near continuous carrier presence in the Persian Gulf, Arabian Sea, and Red Sea has functioned as the backbone of U.S. deterrence architecture against Iran, enabling rapid escalation control while insulating Washington from vulnerabilities inherent in fixed regional bases. That's a problem. It's definitely a problem when you have to depend on the regional basis. We'll get into that a little bit more. The current void introduces severe constraints on response options, compresses decision-making timelines, and increases reliance on land-based assets, which are politically sensitive and tactically exposed to Iran's expanding missile, drone, and proxy capabilities. And this is why you might be seeing a lot of these C-17s coming in. They're trying to put more defensive measures there to protect the bases. That's what I think, and I've been seeing a lot of that. The redistribution of naval power, driven by competing global priorities in the Indo-Pacific and Western Hemisphere, illustrates the hard limits of force availability. Even for our 293-ship Navy with 99 vessels deployed and 37 underway. The gap highlights a structural tension between strategic ambition and operation reality. And here we go with this. This is important because this gives you a little understanding why they may be hesitant in doing anything. As protests rage across Iran and U.S. rhetoric sharpens, the absence of carrier strike groups in the Middle East is no longer a routine deployment cycle fluctuation, but a central variable shaping escalation dynamics, deterrence, credibility, and regional stability. Tehran, Washington's allies and adversaries alike, are carefully scrutinizing the strategic signal transmitted by the carrier gap, which transforms a once predictable deterrence equation into a volatile strategic experiment. The January 5th, 2026 snapshot provided by the USNI, oh my God, which is the news Fleet and Marine Tracker, confirms that none of the U.S. Navy's 11 nuclear-powered aircraft carriers are operating within the Fifth Fleet's area of responsibility. This represents a decisive break from the post-October 2023 posture of sustained carrier presence following the Hamas attack in Israel. At the center of this redistribution is the USS Gerald Ford, which is deployed in the Caribbean Sea under Operation Southern Spear in support of the U.S.-led operations in Venezuela, following the January 3rd, 2026 capture of Nicolas Maduro. Simultaneously, the USS Abraham Lincoln, flagship of the Carrier Strike Group 3, is operating in the Indo-Pacific, patrolling the Philippine Sea and South China Sea to counter Chinese naval assertiveness. They're not moving that. They do that. You have to think, China's thinking of Taiwan right now. With everything that's going on, China's thinking Taiwan. Other carriers, including the USS George Washington, remain tied to forward deployed commitments in Japan. Other carriers, including the while the older platforms, such as the USS Nimitz, has returned to the United States for maintenance or decommissioning. This redistribution leaves the Persian Gulf, Red Sea, and Arabian Sea without organic carrier-based air power, a condition not seen in over 2 years, and sharply contrasting with the rotational deployments of the USS Dwight Eisenhower and the Carl Vinson. From a force planning perspective, it reflects a strategic prioritization of near-peer competition and hemispheric contingencies over Middle East crisis response. Now, there's going to get more. A naval expert explained the situation on January 5th, commented, quote, "The U.S. Navy will continue to support its ongoing operations in the Caribbean while trying to maintain a presence in both the Indo-Pacific and potentially the Middle East. But resources are stretched thin." I was talking about that a few days ago. We're stretched thin. We are stretched thin, highlighting the strain on institutional capacity. The absence of carriers fundamentally reshapes the operational geometry of any potential U.S. military action against Iran. Carrier strike groups operating as mobile sovereign air bases, deploying the F-18s, the F-35s, the stealth fighters, the Growlers, capable of penetrating contested airspace and sustaining high-tempo operations without reliance on regional base agreements. Without carriers, Washington must rely on land-based platforms such as the B-1B bombers operating from Diego Garcia or 22 Raptors stationed at the base in Qatar. Assets that lack the persistence, flexibility, and survivability offered by carriers. Repositioning a carrier, because some people, even myself, I thought, why can't we just bring one over quick? It doesn't work that way. Repositioning a carrier is not instantaneous. The USS Abraham Lincoln would require several days to a week to transit from South China Sea across the Indian Ocean, because it has to go west, at sustained speeds approaching 30 knots. Such movements would be visible to open source intelligence, effectively telegraphing U.S. intent and granting Iran time to disperse assets to set it up because they know that it's coming. A defense analyst warned it is extremely unlikely and incredibly risky to launch strikes against Iran without a carrier or two in the region. So he may be getting these assessments, and they're telling him the high risk involved. So when people are like, why hasn't he done it yet? Why hasn't he done it yet? Why hasn't he done it yet? Because you got to do it right, or don't do it at all. Because you're going to put our people at risk. Our people. Our military personnel. Let's read more. While the U.S. maintains approximately 40,000 troops across 19 regional bases, including the Burke-class destroyers capable of launching Tomahawks, because I said that myself, why can't we just launch some Tomahawks from destroyers and subs and everything? These forces are inherently more vulnerable to saturation attacks than a maneuvering carrier strike group. The logistical burden of sustaining operations against a heavily defended state like Iran without carriers magnifies escalation risks, operational costs, and the likelihood that limited strikes could cascade into broader conflict. Israel and other bases all over the place, Iraq. It is something to seriously ponder. And then it goes more into when this all started in Iran on the 25th, over the collapse of the hyperinflation exceeding 40%, blah, 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 blah. By January 11th, reported casualties had surpassed 100. It's way more than that now. I'm hearing thousands and tens of thousands arrested. There's numbers, different numbers. We're not even going to get into the numbers because they're not, we don't know. We really don't know. They're guessing. Any U.S. military action will likely be interpreted in Tehran as an existential threat, raising the probability of an unrestrained Iranian response. Iran retains more than, I hope this doesn't happen now. Iran retains more than 3,000 ballistic missiles, a growing armed drone inventory, including the Shahed 136, and naval capabilities capable of mining the Strait of Hormuz. That's why you're seeing those Poseidons. That's why you're seeing them monitoring the waters. They're watching what Iran might be doing in the Persian Gulf, specifically the Strait of Hormuz. Through which, Ma, what is it? I'm live and I told you about this. What's going on? What do you need? Which roughly 20% of global oil flows. Proxy forces, including Hezbollah, the Houthis, and Iraqi militias could simultaneously target U.S. bases, shipping, and energy infrastructure. A Pentagon assessment warned Iran would likely retaliate with drone and missile attacks against dozens of U.S. military bases and other sites across the Middle East, something which the current U.S. military presence in the region would be unable to fully defend against, underscoring the vulnerability created by the carrier absence. Beyond the military calculus, the absence of U.S. carriers has broader geostrategic and economic consequences. Disruption to the Strait of Hormuz could trigger a 20 to 30% spike in global oil prices, destabilizing energy markets and fueling inflation worldwide. Southeast Asian economies heavily reliant on Middle Eastern energy would face higher import costs, currency pressures, and downstream economic stress. Even a $20 per barrel increase could impose billions in additional annual energy costs across major Asian importers. Regional navies are likely to increase maritime patrols while energy importing states accelerate diversification strategies and stockpiling. Geopolitically, the carrier vacuum creates space for Russia and China to deepen strategic alignment with Tehran through intelligence sharing, arms transfers, and diplomatic shielding. We're seeing that shit now. There's been flights coming in from Russia and China. The absence of carriers in the Middle East ultimately reflects a broader strategic realignment under President Trump, prioritizing the Indo-Pacific, China, and Western Hemisphere, Venezuela, over... Okay, then don't go.
No, I'm not.
Okay, I'm going to call.
Yeah, call him.
Over sustained Middle Eastern presence. Operation Southern Spear, involving 15 to 20,000 U.S. troops and the Gerald Ford Carrier Strike Group, has extended deployments beyond traditional 7-month cycles, placing additional strain on naval readiness. The Abraham Lincoln's Indo-Pacific deployment supports deterrence against China's gray zone tactics, aligning with U.S. alliance commitments such as the AUKUS. Looking ahead, potential redeployments remain constrained. Carriers such as the Roosevelt are unlikely to reach the Middle East before mid-2026. At the earliest, even as Iran's internal crisis shows no sign of abating. Opposition figures within Iran continue to call for sustained international attention and support. So, this is a big part of it. Bottom line is, we don't have that carrier presence, which is a big time vulnerability. You know, you can say, oh, we can send in the B-1 bombers and send in the Tomahawks and all that, but they're going to retaliate. And they're going after our bases, and our bases are vulnerable. Our personnel are vulnerable. How much THAAD systems, how much defensive countermeasures can you put in place to protect the bases? There's so many of them. How do you deter that? By sending B-1s constant? I mean, what are you going to do? The president has to weigh all this. I know everybody wants to rush. Let's go, let's go. President Trump, do it, do it. You got to think about the consequences. This is serious. We could put our personnel at risk. We definitely are going to put them at risk. There's not even a doubt. So with all this stuff that's going on, and trust me, I am one of those people that would love to go in there and support them. The only thing is, this is critical. Because if the regime stays in place, forget about the public hangings that are going to start tomorrow morning, local time in Iran. On TV, by the way. Public hangings. It's going to be broadcasted. I heard a number that 20,000 people have been arrested so far and 6,000 unalived. That's a number I heard. And there's, like I said, the numbers, you could different numbers from different sources. Now, if the regime stays, do you know how many more people are going to be unalived? And how many more people are going to be arrested? And you know who they're going to blame, right? For not coming to the rescue? The people of Iran, not the government. The people of Iran are going to blame the U.S. administration. If you thought red flags that were drawn and crossed and the rhetoric, what was the result of that? This is a massacre. And the people of Iran are going to blame the president. You did not come to our side when we needed you most. We pleaded to you. So did our future king. And you stood by and did not help us. That could turn into an absolute disaster for the United States. So you got to think about the long-term consequences, the short-term consequences, by the lack of action. If something does not happen, this could be really bad. Not just for the people of Iran, but for us, geopolitically. Now, I'm not saying he's not going to do anything, but when you consider what I just read, not having the carrier strike groups there, which is kind of mind-boggling because after what happened in June, you would think they would have some kind of presence there. At least one carrier strike group. But no. We were worried about other things to do. And definitely we need to keep a presence in the South China Sea. So the carriers are there because they really are trying to put pressure on China for making a move on Taiwan. And I knew that was there. I think anybody... Well, that's something else that came out. But you think they're going to move the assets from the South China Sea area, Japan, over west to the Indian Ocean to get to the Persian Gulf? And they're going to leave that empty vacuum near Taiwan? And they're going to, it's open sourced. People will know that they're coming. This is very, very delicate. This is seriously a delicate situation. Not the Republican Guard, the regular Iranian army, the one with Persian wrist. Their people have to get their regular army. Yes, absolutely. Who wrote that? AJ. Absolutely. Now, if that happens, that's a game changer. If the army turns against the regime and supports the people, that is a big game changer. The heck with the IRGC. But you're right. Whoever said that, AJ, you're absolutely correct. That's a big game changer right there. But we still would have to target and hit IRGC bases, strategic points. And you know they're going to probably, most likely, strike Israel. Now, I'm just going to say this. Did Israel create, not before our bombers went over and took out the nuclear facilities, Israel had free reign of air superiority. Didn't they establish that pretty quickly? And they did hit a lot of their infrastructure. And there's a lot of things going on the ground. Commanders being taken out. You know, there's stuff going on the ground. We all probably can guess who's responsible for that, right? It's not like things aren't going on. All I'm saying is we must be very, very careful by launching a strike because we don't have the carriers there to back it up. unfortunately, strategically stupid, but you should at least kept one carrier presence there and not have two at the same, because they got to go back to a naval base after a certain amount of time. They do have to go back, resupply, whatever, even though it's a nuclear carrier, that's not the point. They still have to go resupply. You should always have kept one carrier presence in the region. This is something that hasn't happened in a long time, but it's happened now. There's an empty vacuum in the Persian Gulf and in the Mediterranean, because that's another spot you could put them, off of Israel, near Cyprus, near Greece, right in there. We don't got nothing. We don't got nothing at the mouth of the Red Sea, near Yemen. That is not good. Because again, we have to be able to protect our personnel, our military personnel, at all these vulnerable bases. Because they're going to hit them. Or at least they're going to try to hit them. And they may, a lot of this stuff that's going on in Syria, and I don't know if anything's going on in Iraq, you've got to take out their proxy strength in these countries, because they're the ones that are going to attack you at your bases. It's not just Iran, but what's coming from within Syria, Iraq, and other places. You have to, because it's going to come from all over. Even, I don't know how strong Yemen is still, the Houthis, because they've been decapitated pretty much. They've been severely weakened. So all these factors come into play. If you make that call, if the president makes that call to strike Iran. We do got shit in Iraq still. Yes. You see how many times these proxy-backed militia groups tried to hit our bases near Baghdad and other places in the region. This is very complicated. It's so easy for people to say, hit him now. Yeah, you could do that with the B-1Bs and Tomahawks and all that, but what happens after? And what about our sustainability about a counterstrike after that happens? Or a deterrence? We remember, they're going to be firing a lot of missiles. Now, I would hope that in coordination with our allies, including Middle Eastern countries, would help protect and defend. Because you got to remember, the base is in Qatar. And they even said to the Iranians, we're not just going to attack the bases, but any country that is allowing the U.S. to use their bases, you are a target too. And you got to remember, this is not just a rhetoric threat. The regime is near collapse. It literally is. And they would act desperately to do anything to hold power. That's a scary aspect in this. You know what I mean? You have to take everything into consideration. And it's so, like I said, it's so easy. It's so easy for people on the sideline to say, well, let's do it. Just do it. I hope that we don't live to regret by people encouraging, let's do it. And then something really bad happens after it, to our military personnel in the region. Yes, Mom?
I can't find the bag.
Oh, you can't? I'll be right back, everyone. Because she can't find something, so I'll be right back.
Put the light on.
All right, let's go find it. Come on. Come on. Because I'm like, I don't know where you put it. So.
Not me. Not me. Please, leave me alone. Don't stop with me already.
Anyway. Okay, back. All right, what's going on now? Media sources even show 100th Brigade deployed to Erbil, Iraq, on Iran, and the Iran border. But again, you can have everything in place. You think this is going to be over in a day? You think it'll be that quick? I don't care what kind of personnel we have on bases. I don't care who's deployed. You could have as much as you can in the area, on the ground, at bases. It's not about the initial strike. It's what happens after. You have to be able, could you imagine, let's just say this. Remember what happened in the 12-day war when the barrage of missiles were coming in from Iran? What if they did that to a U.S. base? Can those U.S. bases defend against that? Can they? And from a much shorter distance. It's not traveling over Syria and Iraq or wherever they're coming from, Iran. It's coming right from Iran. Boom, right into Iraq. Boom, right into Qatar. You're willing to risk U.S. military personnel? It's not that they will, absolutely, that'll happen, but are you willing to take that risk? And put our people at risk like that? Yeah, you can hit their targets. You can have whatever personnel. You can have whatever first strike. What happens after the first strike? You better get all of it. You better do a hell of a hurt. You better make sure that they don't have much to respond with. Because if you don't, you're going to put a lot of our people at risk. That's the question. And is the president willing to take that risk? That's what it comes down to. I don't care about special ops and B-1 bombers and Tomahawks coming from destroyers and submarines and all that. That's all fine and dandy. How much can you take out from that first initial strike? Are we going to use tactical nukes? They have to think about the repercussions of a counterstrike from Iran to our bases. And that's what worries me. The vulnerability of our bases. And our people. Our people. Our servicemen and women. Putting them at risk. Because we don't have the assets to protect them. Think of it this way. Yeah, we've got, like I just read, 22s in Qatar, the B-1Bs, Diego Garcia. I'm sure there's submarines in the area, destroyers possibly in the area. Who knows? I don't know. But if you're going to make that first strike, you better make it count big time. Because if not, the repercussions could be catastrophic to our people. And we need to think about that. And I bet you, can you imagine the president having to make this decision? This is an incredibly difficult position to be in for him. Yes, it's, I've been hearing we're going to hit them every night. But again, I'm all for it. I've been all for it from the beginning. If you've been watching me talk about it, I've been for this. Get them now. Hit them now. Get them now while they're vulnerable. But if we give any light right now to this regime and they think, because they could think all they want, this is a really, I mean, the next 24 to 48 hours, and I've been saying this for days now, it's going to happen between 48 and 72 hours. Now I'm saying this shit better happen within the next 24 to 48 hours. Or by the worst case scenario, by the end of the week. Because the evidence is there. Thousands, it looks like, have become unalived already. I heard a number 20,000 have been arrested. Tomorrow they're going to do public hangings, televised on Iranian TV. Hangings start tomorrow morning, Wednesday morning, Iran time. Oh, you're absolutely right, user Trump. You're absolutely right. It changes the region forever. And I've been saying it. The president goes down in history forever as being the one that gave the Middle East the opportunity to have stability and peace amongst the nations. There's no doubt about that. I don't care if you like the president or not. And I said, this is not a political issue, which a lot of people want to make it a political issue. This is not a political issue. This is about helping the Iranian people achieve democracy, freedom from a regime that's really not part of their history. They are really, this Islamic regime is an occupier of that land. It really is. And I'm telling you, I'm thinking what the president must be going through. And yet there could be I would think there's going to be a cyber attack prior to any attack itself, military, to try to hit them with the cyber first, neutralize as much as they can, then go in. But like I said, we have to worry about our bases and our personnel. It's so easy to say something. It's a lot harder. And I've been looking at the images coming, and I'm not going to show them. I'm not going to do that. It's horrifying, horrifying, the images coming in from Iran. The amount of, I got to say it, I got to be careful, I'm on TikTok. The amount of body bags and the graphic video and images, I don't even want to say it, of women, their faces. It's horrific. Horrific. I have my phone in my pocket, but I'm listening to you in my headphones. So now there was supposed to be a meeting today, but they had a meeting yesterday to go over the options. And like you said, I'm looking at flight radar. And yes, it's dark now. It's almost completely dark, but not quite yet. It's getting there, because you can see it on flight radar. It's almost complete. Half of Iran is still dusk, but it's about to be fully nighttime. The other half is dark. See the line? So it's almost completely dark over the country of Iran right now. And what is this bad boy coming in? Oh, another thing I noticed. Yeah, the Stratotanker. You know what I noticed? No, ma. I'm just going to call the doctor and cancel and reschedule, because I'm not going through it. Okay. I'm not going to say anything else. All right. You'll have to explain it to him, not me. So a C-17 coming in. And I think a lot of what's going on here is they're trying to definitely create defensive measures to protect the base, which is here. And really to protect Qatar. Because this is the main base where a lot of activity is going to come out of. Bahrain is a smaller base. But guess what I noticed yesterday, late last night, when I was talking to my friend Andy? I don't understand how people can't even be capable of such horror. I know I've seen the video. I would never, ever, ever show that kind of video, because that's like exploitation of the horrific things that are going on there. And I'm not going to play a role in that shit. I will not. Not for views, not for anything. I would never do that. Out of respect to those people. I noticed some wild shit yesterday. Right here. There were 3 strata tankers lined up late last night right here. And I'm like, and they were in the air. And I'm saying, are they refueling B-1Bs coming over the Pacific to get down here? Because that's where it is. It's way down Diego Garcia. Are they? Because it's like right about here somewhere. Are they refueling them? What is this? Super Hercules. And I'm like, And I'm not sure. I'm just assuming, but I seen a lot of the tankers right here late last night, about 1 o'clock in the morning my time. A lot of tankers were here, and I'm like, holy shit, are they refueling them? And again, I'm making an assumption. Of course I am. Alexa, stop. Alexa, stop. So, you know, obviously this is going to show you what it's going to show you, but there's a lot it's not going to show you. And this has been the I've been watching this for like 2 weeks now. Another strata tanker. Excuse me. Usually the strata tankers will leave.
It's sunny and
Alexa, stop. The strata tankers would leave at a cutter. They go out this way, then they cross over west, and either they go off with the transponder or they'll head up into Iraq, and then they'll shut off their transponder. That's been the typical flight paths of these strata tankers. I've been watching them. The Poseidon would come out, go here, maybe go over here, go around, and then come back. And there was actually 2 of the Poseidons. One left Qatar and another one left Bahrain yesterday. There was 2 of them out here. The Poseidons. And there was an MQ-4C Triton flying around too. And don't think that we're not monitoring Russia's movements either, because they've been flying the Triton over there too. You know, when you look at other things, I don't know if it's in the air right now, which I don't see it, but the Triton was flying around up, not to Belarus. It was here. Oh, that might be, no, that's not it. It was going into Lithuania, the Triton, like right through here, up to here, then turn around and come back. And there's been a lot of NATO planes flying over here too. So there's, you know, there's other stuff going on. And I don't see the drone now, but it was up yesterday. Just to put that into context, the UK looks like they're doing something. They're about to take. That's probably a Voyager tanker, if I had to guess. Yep, it's a Voyager. I don't know what it's going to do, but there's a tanker sitting in the base, the RAF base in Greece, right there. So who knows? But I agree with user Trump on TikTok. Is tonight the night? Top talking to the device like that? Oh my gosh, Craig. That's kind of funny, dude. But just looked on Flight Radar 20, a lot of militaries flying near Iran. Well, I have Flight Radar now, and I have the military filter. I see the tanker. I see this one about to go. What is this? Hercules? No, it's a C-17. Unless I'm missing something, user. Another place to look is Oman. They had a drone flying there yesterday. Not yesterday, 2 days ago. My radar showing 2 near Azerbaijan. Let's widen out the map. Maybe my filters are not right. It's got it on the military. I got the military filter on. Maybe you can help me use it, Trump. Maybe I have a filter setting wrong. Okay, that's Cutter. There's the Strata tanker. Wonder what the activity is. Yeah, it was glitching on me, dude. It was showing a lot of false GPS locations. I was like, oh my God, there's a tanker heading into Iranian airspace. And no, it wasn't. I got to be careful on that. Because flight radar does have its glitches. I see these. I'm not seeing anything. I don't know who this one belongs to. Because you can see the U.S. flag. Military or government. What country is this? Oh, okay. But the night is about to happen there. Another C-17. I'm telling you, there's been so many C-17s and Hercules. And, of course, a lot of tankers. What the hell is that? Pakistan? The hell? Moose. Moose just disappeared. Moose probably just landed. So yeah, I'll be keeping an eye on this. This is German. But not much. And they're not going to show you on flight radar and you know, something that's about to go down. What's saying Friday, Saturday night? So I'm just keeping an eye on it. Uh-oh. What is this? Daily Mail just put something out. Trump cancels all talks with Iran. Now, this is just what came up on my email. I don't know what we could take from this. I don't know if it's true. Trump has canceled all meetings with Iranian officials and told press the help is on the way, suggesting a direct diversion of the latest Truth Social post. Somebody, because I don't have Truth Social, we may have to look at this on X. Trump has shifted from diplomatic sanctions to an overt call for grassroots regime change by urging Iranian citizens to take over their institutions, save the names of the... They will pay a big price, he wrote this morning. He's holding a meeting right now. This is a developing story. Oh, boy. There goes that, huh? There goes that. Now I'm going to have to look on X. What did he say this morning? I was just saying, that diplomacy bullshit, that he knows that was bullshit. They're stalling for time. He knows that. He's not a fool. And it's not even about him. He's got people around him. Intelligence, It's not just him. The president makes the final decision as the commander-in-chief, but he's got people in his ear. Obviously. I wouldn't even want to show you this horrific picture that is so graphic with the amount of people that are unalived and you can see their bodies. This image. It is fucking horrible. I mean, fucking horrible. Oh my God. The numbers are really, you can't trust the numbers because we just cannot verify what numbers are accurate. I'm hearing all kinds of numbers. So someone from Iran, claiming to be from Iran, says, hello world, can you hear us? 12,000 people have lost their lives. I don't know if that's true. And I'm sure there's people that support the Islamic Republic. You know, that goes without saying. Let me see if Lindsay posted anything. He did. Here it is. Here is the Truth Social post. I knew Lindsay would do it. Iranian patriots, keep protesting. Take over your institutions. Save the names of the killers and abusers. They will pay a big price. I have canceled all meetings with Iranian officials until the senseless killing of protesters stops. Help is on the way. Make Iran great again. Help is on the way. In caps. He canceled all meetings with Iranian officials until the senseless killing of protesters stops. You think that's going to happen? I don't think so. The only way that would happen is if the people just stopped completely. So that's what the president posted earlier. So let's see. I wonder what it says, though. Did Lindsay make a comment on it? No, he just shared it. Lindsey Graham. Let's see what else. Oh, God, I'm not showing that video. I am not showing that video. Absolutely not. And, yes, it's like, let's look at the United States as an example. We have divisiveness here, right? You know, some people are supporting the president, and there's obviously people that don't. What do you think the percentage is going on in Iran right now? How many people support the regime, or how many people are against the regime? What would you say? What would you try to guess that number to be? Because you're always going to have two sides. That goes without saying. And we're seeing a lot of the stuff coming out of Iran from one side showing a lot of videos. They are also showing videos of the people that are in support, which they prove that they're doing a lot of AI stuff. They had a video of people in short sleeves when it's wintertime. It's obviously AI, and it wasn't done well. And if they were walking on the streets, the president of Iran and with his security, and they're like this. They're looking up. They're like nervous. They are nervous to be in a public street even. And there's been a lot of AI bullshit going on. So, again, you have to take everything, because what's the credibility on a lot of the information coming out? You don't want to rush to conclusions or rush to judgment or be impulsive, because it could turn out that the information that you're looking at is actually propaganda or misinformation. And that's just to be fair on both sides. Because we see it here, right? It happens everywhere. Just to be fair on this. But then again, there's so many videos coming out from Iran that overwhelmingly convinces me that millions of people across the country want change. Millions and millions of people. And like I said, they made an announcement that they're going to start doing public executions starting Wednesday morning. Public. And on Iranian TV. That is above and beyond. But that's typical of them to do shit like that. It scares, fear, intimidation, to try to suppress people from doing anything more. That's obvious. Why? How can we know if it is AI or not? Just fact checking alone doesn't even feel trustworthy. That's the problem, Witch Moon. That is the problem. That's why you'll see a lot of people posting all kinds of stuff, videos, and slow down. Shouldn't we do some kind of viable, credible checking of the sourcing, even the dates of when these videos allegedly took place? There's a lot involved here. And I'm not going to be the one to rush to judgment and share stuff that I'm not sure. That would be irresponsible, though others are, to make a point. You got to be careful. That's my point. You got to be careful. So, I want to see if anybody else is posting anything. Okay, that was yesterday. No, Pahlavi has not posted anything since last night. Yeah. Let's see who else we can look for here. I mean, there's been a lot of rhetoric coming from a lot of politicians here in support of the people. I mean, I was seeing a whole bunch yesterday, including Newt Gingrich, Pompeo. Do you know what I saw that is crazy, though? What Giuliani posted. And this is something that Goldie has been bringing up on her streams, and she is her and Armin are so on point about him and his involvement with the other group. MEK, I think it is. I was like, oh my God. And then they did a fact check on him. And let me see if I find it. Oh, he responded because people said, look at this shit. Look at what Julie... All right, hold on. It's in response to that one. You got to see what he wrote. I was like, what? Let me find it. I hope that Goldie and... I don't know if Tusi would mention it too much because he hasn't really been getting into that too much, but Goldie should definitely bring this up. I hope that he didn't take it down. He might have. He might have took it down. He might have took it down because he exposed himself. I'm gonna go back to the top. Okay, let's see what this one says. Because someone responded to him that, when were you threatened? So look what he wrote here. And this is in response to a reply that he did yesterday, but it looks like it's gone. I can't find it. This is what he wrote. I have been targeted, and this is all in caps. I have been targeted twice by Iran. Attached is the attempt in France earlier in the year. There was a similar attempt in Albania. Just two of the lies in this attack by those trying to restore the crooked and brutal Pahlavi family so they can steal even more from the Iranian people. And you had to see the original post. I think he took it down. I can't find it now. And when I read the original post, I was like, oh my God. What's up with Giuliani? I'm trying to see what it says here. I can't find the tweet that he did. Because this has to do with the Hunter Biden laptop, and there's more ties here. It's more complicated than that, but. So and somebody commented, so your answer is to support the Marxist Islamic MEK, NCRI? But I can't find the article. I'm trying to see if I could find it. He might have taken it down. And I wish I would have saved it. What he said. It was shocking. It was actually shocking. And like I said, Goldie would have went berserk when she would have seen that. I think he took it down. Somebody says on, so I'm not going to say names because I'm not throwing anybody under the bus. I'm just going to read a comment. So a comment comes in Israel. It's about Israel. Israel controls Trump and wants Iran done for. It's not for the people. He took it down. Just to put this in context, because I know a lot of people are saying that as well, and I respect everyone's opinion. Everyone has a voice. You know, I don't do that, but I do want to show this. And I got to cancel Mom's appointment because she's not going again. It's unbelievable. You know, just to put this in context, if we're talking about Israel, well, they have a connection. They are friendly. Pahlavi and Netanyahu. So, just to put this in perspective, if he becomes the king, even though there would be a republic in Iran, I would assume, with a parliament, he already has a relationship with Netanyahu. To put this in perspective with the Israel part of it. So there's already a connection here, and he was in Jerusalem a couple of years ago, I believe, to visit with Netanyahu. What's up, Mr. Haunted? How you doing? I don't know who that is. So, just to put that in perspective, they do have a cordial relationship. Come this year to the UFO fair. I can't say who's speaking, but it might be a guy with hair that comes all the way up. You know who that person is, right? That's all I can say. And you know where to find me. It's the first Saturday in June, the UFO fair. That one. Stay in touch with me. You know how to reach me on Book of the Face or through here. I'll keep you posted. It's your birthday? Oh, what a way to celebrate your birthday. I know we're going a little off topic, but I have a friend in there on TikTok. Actually, he has a lot of connections with a lot of the paranormal stuff. Anyway, I just wanted to put that out there too with the Reza connection with Netanyahu. June 3rd, is that the first Saturday in June? I don't even know. Stay in touch with me. Because you come hang out with me. You know what happens if you come hang out with me. You hang out with me when everything's going on. You know how that works, right? My friends sure do. When they come over to stay, they go everywhere with me. Anyway, so that's an interesting Truth Social post that the president put out this morning. Negotiations are off with Iran until they stop using violent measures against the protesters. That's what I'm summarizing, paraphrasing, because I'm on TikTok. I gotta watch what I say. Matter of fact, let's just put his post, so everybody that may be coming now can clearly see what the president put out there this morning. Because of course Lindsey Graham put it out there. Lindsey said something, and you know how Lindsey Graham is. I know some people, whatever you think. Like I said, this is not political to me. This is just about putting out what people are saying. He said, I haven't eaten 3 or 4 nights thinking that the strike is going to happen. He said that. I'm paraphrasing. I was like, oh my God, Lindsey. So this is what the president posted this morning. I have canceled all meetings with Iranian officials until the senseless killing of protesters stops. So he has stopped saying this is about stampedes. He's saying right there, the senseless killing of protesters stops. It doesn't come out straightforward than that. Now he's not saying, oh, some of the people that became unalived were a result of stampedes, and some of them are getting shot at. Well, now he's not even mentioning that. He's saying unless the senseless killing of protesters stop. I don't think you could make it more clear than that. Now, user Trump, that's a really interesting point, what you just brought up. And I'll tell you why. First of all, we should take a poll. Now, it wouldn't be fair here. Goldie should do it because she has like 45,000 people watching on her stream. Or Tusi should take this poll. Not me. But ask this question. How many people think that if Israel struck Iran, that the people would be angered by Israel attacking Iran, or would they say, please help us attack the IRGC? That should be a question. I'd be interested to see that poll. But again, the chats are predominantly in support of whatever the person is saying during their stream. So that's a biasness in itself, because a lot of people are there to support. That's why they're there. So that kind of is like a biased type of a poll, because it's not, because most of the people there are showing support of regime change and for the Crown Prince, and I'm going to call him the Crown Prince. I know they're saying he's the king. He's not the king yet. And yes, he is the son of the Shah. I get all that. But right now, I'm calling him the Crown Prince. And I know that pisses off some people, but right now, that's what he is. But I wonder if we took that poll right now in Iran, what would the Iranian people say? Please, Israel, help the U.S. hit the targets, the IRGC bases. Because like somebody brought up in another chat, AJ Smith, if the army turns, that's a game changer. The Iranian army. That is a game changer. So there's a lot of things going on here. Now, do I think that the president is going to act tonight? I don't know about that. It might be within the next few nights. If at all. But he's not going to just say that. Would you call his bluff? Would anybody with their right mind call this man's bluff? Thinking that he's delusional? Like the people in Iran are saying, this man is delusional. If he thinks he's... Do you want to do that? What did Maduro say? Where's Maduro now? Now, this is not Venezuela. Iran is a totally different situation than Venezuela. Especially when it comes to their military and the IRGC. This is totally a different scenario. This is not Venezuela. Let's get that clear. This is not Venezuela. So, got to keep an eye. I have to call her doctor because mom is not going to the doctor again. And I can't do nothing about it because I'm not going to have an argument. But remember what I read earlier. I'm going to put this article. I can't post articles on TikTok. But this one really breaks down the risks of the absence of a carrier group there. There are major risks to our bases. Major. And that's a major concern. Let me see what's going on. User Trump, you're watching Flight Radar too, right? Not that it's going to indicate anything because they're not going to show us. They're not going to show us what's impending. The one thing to watch, though, on Flight Radar, that is a telling sign, an obviously telling sign. You are? Would be this. Forget about so much about the movements. This is a tanker probably coming back into Qatar to land. This is a Poseidon right here flying around, checking out the Persian Gulf because they're monitoring to see if the Iranians are placing any mines or planning to do a blockade right here in the choking point, Strait of Hormuz, doing anything. So that's why they're monitoring. They're checking, keeping an eye on what they're doing, if at all. But this is definitely a tanker coming in back, probably. Yep, it is. It's returning. Stratotanker. This is a Poseidon patrolling. Or is it? What is that? That is not. It's an Airbus. There was a Poseidon out there earlier. What the hell is that? That's a Pakistani. There was a Poseidon earlier. Let's see what else. But that's not what's so important here. Believe it or not. This is. Why? If you see the air traffic change here, especially in Iran too, you know something's going down. When they start to divert and avoid the area of eastern Iraq, western Iran, you know it's game on. That's a great indicator. Because obviously they're going to divert civilian aircraft out of the area. Does that make sense? No? Yes? I wonder if... Mom's fine. She's supposed to go to a regular checkup. But she's... I'm going through this with her. I wonder if Saudi would get involved if Iran targets our bases. Oh, heck yeah. You think Saudi's going to get hit? Remember, that's a Sunni Shia thing, too. If they hit... They have to defend. That's a really great question, Kevin. That is a really legitimate, great question. Would they respond? Qatar's been having, and I've been noticing that too, they've had typhoons and F-15s in positions, but they're not doing. Bahrain too has been having some activity, but I don't see anything right now. But there's been some fighters by these countries showing up from time to time. Doesn't mean much right now, but that's a really good question. But again, if we start seeing these flights being diverted or avoiding this area, that means they've been told, stay away. Last minute, because they're not going to tip their hand, because this would tip it. Something's incoming. Or would they tell the civilian? They would have to, right? What do you guys think? Wouldn't they have to? Tell them civilian flights coming in the area where stay out? Because they don't want to have an accidental, and it's happened in the past. It happened in Iran. And it happened in Ukraine. They're not going to want to have that on their hands. So this is another thing to watch. The air traffic itself. And there's been a lot of spoofing and weird stuff going on the last few days near these Tehran airports. I've been noticing a lot of weird stuff. Andy's been helping me too. Andy, if you notice, I know he's watching. Yeah, the Pakistan, I saw that. I was looking at that. Let's go back to military filter. And I think Tusi got it. I don't know if I helped him or not, but I sent him a message yesterday to try to help him how to use the flight radar a little bit. There's a Pakistani. What is this? Not available. It's a Boeing though, 747. That's a Hercules. Oman. This is probably UAE. Yeah, that's a UAE. They have a lot of training planes too. Yeah, that's an Airbus. Here, there's one. What is this? There it goes. What is that? F-15. I said that just a few seconds ago. Look. What do we got here? An F-15. So it looks like Qatar's also preparing defenses because they know if shit goes down, they are going to be targeted. Because this is the main base right here. This will be targeted. And they know it. So, of course, they're going to have their own preparation ready. That was a citation. I saw that yesterday. Let's just go here. What was this? A helicopter. So yeah, there's been a lot of activity here too. This is the main base. There's a helicopter there. Military or government. Saudi. Oh no. Saudi.
For Billy.
From here.
Oh my gosh. It's good that I go there because I got to find out if she really wants to call off the doctor. She has an appointment for 12. I don't know. I don't see this happening. Who's messaging me on TikTok? Konnichiwa? Hold on. I'm going to also check. Oh my God. I can't be watching these. Yeah, I'm not concerned about really any activity around the UK. It has to be in the region. It takes time. There's been a lot of movement coming from Germany too. All right, let me continue. A lot of activity coming from the bases, Ramstein and other locations. What is this, Blue 51? That just came up. That's a big time refueler right there. That's the newer version, the Pegasus. Another tanker. And probably another tanker. Another tanker. And where are they all coming from? They're coming from that area. You gotta wonder if we just don't know if there is secretly a carrier group here and that we just don't know about it. The Vincent or the Roosevelt, and that, you know, they're just not putting that out there. Who knows? Let's see where this one came from. Oh no, you could see the line. Well, look where all the tankers are coming from. Saudi Arabia. And why would they deploy their tankers there to... Here comes another tanker is heading out from the UK. Wow, there's a lot of tankers. There's a lot of tankers out there. Okay, where did that... See, I'm not seeing the line where that one's going. But you could see where they're all coming out of or going to. That's the point. Where are the majority of these tankers? Look. Because there's the base. Right around there. So you could see kind of the activity that's going on. This one's about to land. This tanker's coming in. Right now, you can tell by the altitude when it's dropping. It's coming in. See, it's dropping. It's coming into land. So yeah, you can get an idea of where logistically they're coming from. Because there's been a lot of C-17s, Hercules, Super Hercules, Poseidons, tankers. What is this? What is this coming in? I just saw a US one. Where'd it go? It just disappeared. Oh no, it's right here. C-17. Where the hell did that come from? Germany? Yeah. From Germany. A lot of activity, I'm telling you. A lot. Where the hell is this tanker going? To Glasgow? Nope, it took off from here. I want to see the altitude of this one. That's low. I didn't know. What is this? It looks like it's coming. Let me see the altitude. Is it dropping? That's low. Interesting. What the hell is this? Greece. And here's the RAF base. I wonder where that Stratotanker, did it take off? That's their version, the Voyager. That's their tanker. So yeah, I'll be keeping an eye on this. This one's either landed or is... Oh my God!
Call from
Alexa,
Billy's
stop!
son.
Alexa, hang up. Let me go see what Mom wants. That's her. Oh my gosh. What is it? Alexa, stop. What happened? Mommy, my God. Why you have to go to the doctor? Are you going? We have to go in a half hour. Let's go. Get up. Let's go. We have to go. Come on. Let's go. Get up. You have to see the doctor. Because you have to get the medications and everything you need. You gotta be ready in a half hour. Oh my gosh, it's a battle. Looks like she might go after all. Thank gosh I didn't call the doctor. This is a struggle for me, dealing with my mother, to get her to go to the doctor. It is a struggle. It really is. It's really difficult for me. Anyway. Peter, I think, I don't know necessarily about tonight, because it might. But I've been saying that next 48-72 since Saturday. Can we defend our base in the region against... That's what I'm concerned about, Kevin. That's the problem. Kevin, you bring... That's what I was talking about earlier. Can we defend our bases? Can you imagine a barrage of missiles targeting our bases? Can they defend those bases if they're overwhelmed by Iranian missiles? Can they? How many THAAD systems do we have? Or Patriots similar countermeasures? How many do we have? How many bases do we have? You know they're going to hit the most, what they perceive to be the most vulnerable, and that would be probably Iraq. If they hit Qatar, Qatar's getting involved. Most likely. We don't know. Like somebody brought up in chat, what if they hit the base in Saudi or Bahrain? Because we have bases in Bahrain, a base in Bahrain too. It's smaller, but the main base is in Qatar, and the Saudi base ain't nothing to mess around with too. This is not warmongering. This is about the possibilities, scenarios that could happen. If the United States were to strike Iran, you have to think about all the consequences to such an action. And remember, I will always say this, I'm not Iranian, I'm not there, I don't have family there, I don't know what's going on. I don't know what the living conditions are for these people. And I'm sure, like somebody in chat said, you know, warmongering because, you know, there are people that support the regime, the Islamic Republic. But like I said earlier, I would love to see a poll about, from all the people in Iran, and what they're thinking right now and feeling right now, and how much of the majority or minority would be in support of the Islamic Republic right now. You think it's more than the people that want to see change? I would love to see that kind of a poll taken. The same thing in this country. Look what's like here. We see the divisiveness here. It's definitely split between Democrats and Republicans, and then we have the independents in the middle, wherever they lean. So that could be said anywhere. But again, based on the stuff I'm seeing coming out, but when you look at certain platforms, they are promoting a certain narrative, whether they're against, for. So there's a biasness there. That's just the reality of it. The thing is, what I'm saying is, if the United States does strike Iran, what are the consequences? Not just for the people of Iran, which is the most important thing, because they're there. They're the ones that are going to be directly impacted. And the effects in the region, geopolitically. There's a lot to consider here. It's not simple. India, China, Russia, the other Middle Eastern Arab countries, Israel. This affects the region completely. So this is serious. Whether you support, against, everybody has that, opinion and their right to do, to speak out their opinion. I'm not here to dispute that. I am putting up the scenario in the event it does happen. And what the president is posting and other politicians in the United States are posting. Peter says they don't have enough to hit our bases. Now, let me ask you a question when you say that. Are you willing to risk our men and women, service women and men? And are you willing to bet their lives on that? Are you willing to risk that? Are you that sure that they don't? Or they haven't been supplying their proxies that are in closer proximity to do damage to our bases? That's the question. Because we are definitely putting our people at risk. And that's what I'm saying. And we don't have a carrier strike group there. They're in South China Sea, Japan, Venezuela. Where are the other ones? I know the Nimitz is docked. Yes, they do. Our bases rely on missile interceptors like the THAAD and the Patriot style system. Do we have enough? If they were to barrage a base, do those bases have the assets? Do we have the time to intercept those missiles coming into a base right across the border into Iraq? Do we? Do we have a strike carrier group out there? Are you that sure? Oh, now she's coming. I'm not going to say it no more, Mom. You have to go to the doctor. And you have to leave in 40 minutes. I'm not going to say it no more. Again, it's easy for us to sit here and say, yes, they've got plenty of defensive countermeasures to prevent the missiles. Yeah, Iran doesn't have the capacity to attack our bases and do severe damage. The point is, are you willing to... We could say that so easily, but if you're the President of the United States, he has to look at everything. Are you willing to risk our service men and women's lives based on that hunch? Or what is the intelligence? Does the intelligence show that that's the case? Because they're at risk. That's the bottom line. It's easy for us to say this, that. The president has to look at all these things going on. Short-term consequences, long-term consequences. I mean, really. Oh, okay. So again, it's easy to say, but what happens if we see, okay, life radar just shut down on that tracking? What are people going to say if we hear that, God forbid, there are fatalities and injured at bases? U.S. personnel. What then? That's what I'm thinking. What then? That's not going to be good. Then the people are going to be questioning, well, why did you do it in the first place? You have to think of the president's position on this. This is a really, really difficult, whether to or not. Is there other means? Because even Levitt said yesterday, he has many options on the table. It's not just a military strike. What does that mean? The 25% tariff? Cyber? What else? What is the president's options here? Would you want to be right now in the president's shoes making this decision? Think how difficult it is for this man. Honestly. And the effects it will have on the Iranian people, and the effects it may have on Israel, and of the effects on the countries with the bases that may be hit, where U.S. bases are. Qatar, Bahrain, Saudi Arabia, wherever. There's a lot on the table here. It's not just Iran that can strike U.S. assets. It's Iraq, Yemen, Syria, etc. And why do you think we've been hitting these targets in recent days? And you're right, though, Mr. Ninja, because they're going to attack them from all sides if they can. That is true. That's absolutely true, and that's a concern. They're going to be targeted from all sides. It's a very valid point. And that's why you've been seeing the United States strike targets, ISIS targets, and that's what they say, but you've been seeing that. But that's what makes it even more complicated. Exactly what Mr. Ninja just said. It's not just Iran. It's the proxies. What are they going to do? Tariffs is not working. Carriers were hit twice by Yemen. I didn't hear anything about that. That was the alleged rhetoric coming out of the Houthi government. That's never been confirmed. And how are the Houthis doing right now in Yemen? The UAE left. They withdrew their troops. And what is Saudi Arabia doing in Yemen now? They're cleaning up. They already took oil fields. Do you realize what the Saudis are doing in Yemen right now? Have you been paying attention to what the Saudis are doing since the UAE withdrew? The alien behind me, Kevin. Is anybody paying attention to Goldie or Tusi? She might be live already. I didn't get no notification, and I've been tuning into them too. And I see some of the people that are in my streams over there. I don't say much because when I do, it's like nobody's paying attention unless it's a super chat. So I just sit back and watch and listen to what information they're providing. Her and Armin, which was funny yesterday because Goldie wasn't there and Armin went off on, I think it was in Denmark. An Iranian went into the embassy and was going crazy with music in the background. I don't know if anybody was watching. Tusi's live in 15 minutes. And he was interpreting what the person was saying. And if Goldie was there, she would have had a heart attack. Because he was reading it almost with a straight face. And everybody's like, oh my God. She is on? Oh my God. And everybody's like hysterical because he's just reading it like normal. And not reading it, interpreting it. And the language was a little bit much, let's just say. Armin is the most normal one. Did you guys see that though yesterday? Anybody in chat? Crafter says Armin is the most normal one. Yo, go on a real... What? Not Goldie and Tusi are gonna get a lot of hate from the Iranians once they get internet. Some reaction is so cringe. Really? You think so? You think a lot of Iranians are going to hate what they're doing? That's an interesting comment. You know what I love about all of you that are commenting here? You keep it respectful even if there are people that disagree here. I don't see no trolling. I have a lot of respect for that. And even like there's a person in here, and I'm not going to mention their name, you know, seems to be in support of the Islamic regime. And that's their opinion. You may not agree with it, but they have a right to speak out their opinion. You know? Goldie's on now. I'm reading your chats now. There was some guy in Qatar that was wanting to find Hamas still. I don't remember. I don't know about that one, Nolly News. Andy says, I am a member of 2TV Plus. There is a disconnect from Iranians in Iran versus the Iranians in foreign places. Here is the thing I disagree with their over-the-top reactions for some of the stuff, but I support Pahlavi too. Oh my God, Andy, stop. Yeah, but that's okay. An overreaction can be construed as being very passionate. You got to remember what they're feeling. If it was any of us, think about what we do here in our country, with memes and when you're criticizing the other side, whichever side you're on, doesn't matter. I don't care about that. You know, and making light of it and joking about it. But people are very passionate. And that could be an interpretation of being a little bit overly passionate. You know what I mean? So, I mean, you got to cut a little slack too. But every time Reza makes a tweet, Goldie goes, I'm going to be something about us. Oh, I know that. And even, who was it? They mentioned too, are they talking about us? Was it Lindsey Graham or Elon Musk? Was it Lindsey? I saw that too. And then, oh my gosh, they mentioned us on News 12, Israel, and 14. But, I mean, because of that, and they are getting a lot more attention. I cut them some slack on that. You know? I mean, oh my gosh. Look, I've done it in the past. I wrote President Trump 4 times in the first administration. And I swear to you that things happened after I wrote certain letters that happened afterwards. And I was like, was that because of me? I'm not even kidding. Like, I wrote a letter 2 months ago to the White House correspondents. I'll show you. And I wrote about the minerals deal with Ukraine and the resources that Russia currently occupies, how much in value it is. It's like estimated to be over 12 trillion in the occupied territories that Russia has right now. And I was saying, you need to be concerned about this. If Russia gets this, it's going to help their economy. It's going to, I wrote a whole thing about that. But meanwhile, it looks like they were trying to make a side deal with Russia to make an economy-free zone so they can get access to the resources that they occupy right now if there was a deal made to keep the existing lines. I don't want to get into this whole thing because I wrote a big-time, very respectful letter. And I got a really nice letter back. I'm going to show you. And this is what it is to be proactive. You'd be surprised. Here's the letter. This is the White House emailing me back. in response to what I wrote. Oh, God, it just messed me up. I got to open it up again. Just to put this in context, because you would get excited too. You know, if you find out, oh my gosh, they actually were paying attention to us. Because maybe they are. Maybe some people are paying attention to their age or somebody. And I'm not sitting here trying to be totally defensive of that. I'm just saying. So this is the letter I got back December 10th from the White House. This is an example, though. And it's signed by Donald Trump. Now, I don't know if that's an auto pen or just, you know. Thank you for taking the time to share your views regarding the war in Ukraine and Russia. As president, I am steadfastly committed to restoring a foreign policy of peace through strength that puts the American people first. Guided by this common sense vision, my administration has already brokered major peace agreements between nations across the globe that have been torn apart by decades of fighting. We have ensured that our NATO allies dramatically increased their own financial contributions to Europe's security, a major win for American taxpayers. And we have rebuilt our own military readiness, achieving the highest recruitment number in years, because when our country is strong, the world is stable and Americans are more secure, prosperous, and free. Thank you again for writing. Please know that I will continue to pursue a peaceful resolution to the war in Ukraine and Russia that puts America first, protects our citizens, and promotes stability and prosperity at home and abroad. Blessed are the peacemakers. Sincerely, and it's signed by the president. Now, I'm sure that was written by staff. I'm assuming. Wasn't that written directly by the president or signed by the president? But it was still nice to see that it was written back to me. You know what I mean? So when Goldie and Amin are talking about, you know, getting that, you know, they get excited. They're talking about us. It's about us. You know. I give them that. I mean, I cut them slack for that. They're just excited, you know. And yeah, they could be reading too much into the tea leaves on that, and I get it. I totally understand what you just said, Kevin. Or was it Crafter? I get what you're saying about that too. It's like, I definitely get what Crafter's saying. I hear you. I totally understand that. It's like, that's why I won't show certain videos. I won't do it out of respect to the people of Iran and their families. I will not show that because I find that disrespectful. It's like you're monopolizing on the suffering of what's going on in Iran. That I won't do. So what you just said, I totally agree. And I'm going to read your comment. I'm not going to say who you are because I'm not going to put you out there. People are dying in my country. She's over here gathering followers as if she really Imran used the money people to donate to build. Now that makes sense. Any money that's coming in, use it to help the people in Iran. I'm all for that. Definitely all for that. You want to make a difference? That would be a noble cause. Anything that people donate to my super chat goes directly into the pockets of the people of Iran. That would be noble. Totally agree with you on that. You know, if we were on the same side, but I'm a 24 Gen Z, haven't been in Iran since I was 9. But not a day goes where I allow my identity to be ripped from me and to my grief. Dude, I send my love to you and your family and to the people of Iran. Period. Like I always say, I cannot ever say I could relate because I can't. And I cannot say what's going on there because I can't. Who can? I've tried in the past. I was speaking to an Iranian that was in Iran, but this was years ago. And I had a nice, but then it stopped. But I would love to visit there at some point and experience the culture. I do that here. I go to all kinds of festivals from all different ethnic backgrounds, nationalities. I love that. And you know what it does? Because a lot of people are ignorant. They stereotype people, they judge people without knowing the culture itself. They're so quick to judge based on how they speak, how they look, all that. I get that. I'm not one of those people. I love to explore culture. You learn from it. That's a whole different thing though, but he's starting. And I know those I hear you. I totally respect your opinion. You dare not get in touch with the UK government? People in Iran don't need donations? That's from your point of view, because I'm sure, I'm assuming that you support the Islamic Republic. Let me ask you a question about donations. You don't think that they need water? They may run out of water by the end of the year in Tehran. You don't think that there would be some kind of humanitarian aid that can go into Tehran to help the people of Iran? You wouldn't take that donation? When literally people will be without water or shortage of food or anything else? You wouldn't take that donation to help the people? From what? Pride? Okay. I'd rather watch you than them because you don't seem to try too hard. Iran needs every help. Help us now and we will help the world. I promise. I will do whatever I can to support. Like, there's a flag up there, a Ukrainian American flag. I support the Ukrainian people too. I mean, there's so much going on globally. Africa, Gaza. Look what, I mean, really? I said this the other day. Almost half the population of Gaza are children. But it's politicized. But there's so many people suffering in Gaza. It's rubble. There's no infrastructure. It's completely decimated. But if you open up your mountains to support the people, the civilians of Gaza, all of a sudden you're pro-Hamas. No, I'm for the Palestinian people that are suffering. Innocent people, children. 40%, maybe 50% of Gaza is children. Oh. It's snowing right now in Tehran? Wow. It's cold. So those videos of people with t-shirts on yesterday, that wasn't the weather, right? From the pro-rally stuff that they were showing videos of people on a stage holding photos of people that have t-shirts on. It's winter. That's what I mean about putting out propaganda too. I don't have to check on Tycho. Are you getting ready for the doctor? We got to leave in 20 minutes.
Come and check on Tycho. That's what I'm telling you.
What's wrong with Tycho?
I don't know.
You don't know? Where is it? Which room? I'm asking which room?
That room.
Sleeping, that's what he does. He always lays there. He has to lay. That's how he lays. He doesn't lay on the bed. He's fine. I would suggest, because I got to get ready to get off, and I could always watch them. I would suggest, and I was looking at this, there was a highway that was made in Iran, in that lake, let's call it a reservoir, and because of it, it changed the lake's geographical aspect. Because I did some research on that lake 2 years ago, or was it 3 years ago? There was a lot of water flowing. That lake is almost dry. How many people live in Tehran? 20, 30 million? What's the number? Is it true that at times there's no water coming out of the tap? What happens when I heard they're getting water from other countries, shipping it in? People are lining up to fill bottles from trucks. Is this not the truth? What happens when that water completely is gone and it dries up? What happens? What happens to those people in Iran? That's catastrophic. And I think the vast majority of the people, and Iran is a big country. Overlay it in the United States, you'll see how big it is. Tusi's like, but I have to. I'm not even worried about Tusi. I got to take mom to the doctor, which is much more important. Mom, we have to leave in 20 minutes. He's just going to give you a routine checkup, and he's going to refill your prescriptions, which is the most important thing right now. You don't even know. What does 12 mean, Hayu? I don't understand what 12 means. It's in front of your bed, right there on the chest. I need to get up because I need to help her. Otherwise, we're not going to make it to the doctor. I'll be back later. But again, my thoughts and prayers for peace, tranquility, stability for the people of Iran and the region. What else can we say? What else can I say? Because I'll tell you right now, if the numbers of what I'm hearing are true coming out of Iran, I don't know. But thousands of people literally may be unalive right now, and tens of thousands imprisoned, detained, and public execution starting tomorrow morning local time on TV. I mean, really? My God. I'll be back like 2:30 Eastern. I'll try to jump back on because I got to take her to the doctor, get back and do things, and maybe like 2:30 Eastern. And Alexa, what time is it in Tehran, Iran right now?
It's 7:47 p.m. in Tehran right now.
So another night. So again, God bless the people of Iran. I don't care if, like, I know there's somebody there that's pro, probably regime, and I see a lot of people anti. I pray for everyone. Period. For all the people. Because no matter what side you're on, there could be suffering of all sides, not just one side, all sides. So I'll just leave it at that. User Trump, have a great day. Motown, all those watching on TikTok, you all have a great rest of your day. Okay, that wasn't breaking news about anything with Iran. Blessings to all the people on Tuba the U, Book of the Face, Rumbler Nation. I have to say it like that because I'm on TikTok. And maybe I'll see some of you later. And you all have a great rest of your day. And again, my prayers to all the people of Iran.